If I may have your attention, please. At this time, we're going to begin the funeral services here at the cemetery today for Mrs. Rita Mendelsohn. As we begin the service, I would ask if any of you has a cell phone or any other noise-making device, please turn them off at this time. Officiating the service here today will be Rita's son-in-law, Rabbi Marty Lockshin. And the rabbi will begin the service assisting his own family members in the ancient tradition of Kriya. If I could ask the two children to please stand together.
Ruth and Sally, please come and stand beside the coffin. I will now recite the traditional Siduk Hadin. Asur tamim paolo ki chol derachav nishpat ele emuna ve'ein avel tzadik v'yashar hu. Asur tamim b'chol pe'al miyomar lo matifal. Hashalit b'mata u'b'ma'al memit u'mechaye morid she'ol v'ya'al. Asur tamim b'chol ma'aseh miyomar elav ma ta'aseh. Ha'omer v'oseh chesed chinam lanu ta'aseh u'vizchut ha'ne'ekat keseh Akshiva va'aseh. Tzadik b'chol drachav asur tamim er chapayim u'maleh rachamim chamolna b'chusna al avot u'vanim ki lecha adon haslichot v'harachamim. Righteous one in all ways, the rock who is perfect, slow to anger and full of compassion, please have mercy and spare parents and children. For yours, Master, are forgiveness and compassion. Adam ben Shana yichye o elaf shanim yichye ma yitron lo kelo haya yiyeh baruch dayan ha'emet me'mit u'mechayeh. For a person, whether a year old or whether living 1,000 years, of what profit is it? As if having never have been, shall that person be. Blessed is the true judge who engenders death and revives. Nefesh kochai biyadecha tzedek mal'ai yemincha v'yadecha rachim al pleitat son yadecha v'tomar lamalach heref yadecha. The soul of all the living is in your hand. Righteousness fills your right and your power. Have mercy on the remnant of the sheep of your hand and say to the angel of death, hold back your hand. V'hu rachum yechaper avon v'lo yashchit. And God, the merciful one, will forgive iniquity and not destroy, frequently withdrawing anger, not arousing the entirety of God's rage. Now call on Jonah Lowenfeld and Elie Lowenfeld to read a chapter from the book of Psalms.
Mizmor David, Adonai, mi yagor ba'olecha, mi yishkon b'har koshecha. Holech tamim u'fo'el tzedek, v'dover emet bilvavo. Lo ragal al leshono, lo asa l're'ehu ra'a, v'charpa lo nasa al krovo. Nivzeh be'einav nim'as, ve'et yirei Adonai yechabed, nishba l'hara v'lo yamir. Kaspo lo Natan b'neshech, v'shochad al naki lo lakach, ose ele lo yimot le'olam.
Psalm of David. Lord, who may sojourn in your tent, who may dwell in your holy mountain, he who lives without blame, who does what is right, and in his heart acknowledges the truth, whose tongue is not given to evil, who has never done harm to his fellow or borne reproach for his acts toward his neighbor, for whom a contemptible man is abhorrent, but who honors those who fear the Lord, who stands by his oath even to his hurt, who has never lent money at interest or accepted a bribe against the innocent. The man who acts thus shall never be shaken.
Thank you. We are here to pay kavod acharon, final honor, to Reisel Batuvia B'chada Rivka, Rita Mendelsohn, my mother-in-law. Mom was born 96 years ago here in Chicago to a warm Jewish family. She grew up at a home that valued study, knowledge, and culture. Her father was a lawyer and an author. She had a close relationship with her younger brother, Michael, also a lawyer and a man of culture, who died some years ago. Unlike most women of her generation, she went off to study in university away from home. All through her life, she was a reader who was interested in ideas and values. Much of her life centered around her impressive first husband, Dr. Robert Mendelsohn, and the two daughters that they raised. But she was also valued in the workforce. In the beginning, she worked there for financial reasons, and later on, she held staff positions of authority at Northwestern University. In the early 1980s, I was one of the first people I knew who learned how to use a word processor, and that was because Mom taught me. She was doing email well before most people knew what email was. The two children whom she and Dad raised are a testament to her wholesome values and her respect for knowledge and learning. Family legend has it that when Dad suggested that their daughters did not need to go to Hebrew school, after all, they were just girls, Mom said she wanted her daughters to be knowledgeable Jews, a privilege that she had not had herself. When Ruthie and Sally grew up, Mom welcomed David and me into the family. I never had a moment of hesitation about calling her Mom, as she stepped into that role beautifully. She was supportive of me in every possible meaning of the word. She enjoyed being with all of us, and we enjoyed being with her. Mom was generous, caring, and fun, hosting us for weeks in the summers at their home in Evanston, known affectionately as Camp Bob and Rita, taking care of Ruthie and Sally for long periods of time after their children were born, and even at age 80, memorably, showing up in Toronto to help Ruthie after abdominal surgery and keeping Ruthie laughing until she felt completely well. Mom developed close relationships with each of her 7 grandchildren and with their spouses. The grandchildren tell me that they used to joke about how Mom treated her grandchildren differently from everyone else. They treasured, as one of them put it, that, quote, she knew a lot about how to appreciate finer things in life, books, theater, art, movies, clothes, and food. They described her as being discerning without being a snob. One grandchild's spouse told me that from the first time he met Mom, he saw that she treated him without any criticism, just with positivity. She was also beginning to have close relationships with many of her 17 great-grandchildren, particularly with the ones who lived in Chicago for a while, but also with others. After Dad's death, she married another wonderful man, Bernard Weisberger, an intellectual and author of dozens of books, who also developed warm relationships with all of us stepkids and step-grandkids. As one of the grandchildren put it, her choices in husbands were pretty spectacular. One whose talents she identified before he had become much of anything, and the other in a different model. Although they were over 60 when they married, Mom and Bernie had many happy years together. The last few years for Mom were not easy, but they were made comfortable by the loving dedication of her caregivers, Vivian and Catherine. Vivian and Catherine, the whole family, thank you from the bottom of our hearts for everything that you did for Mom. You were caregivers, but you were also her true friends. You always preserved her dignity. May God bless the two of you. Ruthie and I also wanted to publicly mention the dedicated and exemplary work done by Sally and David in caring for Mom, especially in the last 10 years after the two of us moved so far away. Our deepest thanks to you both. Ruthie, Sally, David, and I want to thank Dr. Fred Ettner for everything you did for Mom, well beyond medical consultations for almost 5 decades. You are a true family doctor, a doctor to the entire family. You were with Mom in times of joy, in challenging times, and at the very end, when you were more than a doctor and more than a friend. Back you, Fred. An unusual law in this week's Torah reading relates to mothers and their children, the law of Shiluach Haken. The Torah says that if you find a bird's nest and are interested in taking the eggs or the chicks, first of all, you have to release the mother bird. The law obviously has something to do with compassion, but does it make any sense? Is it really so much more compassionate to chase away the mother bird before taking her young? Samuel David Luzzatto, known as Shadal, a 19th century Torah commentator from Italy, offered an original interpretation. As we all know, whenever a person approaches a bird, the bird instinctively flies away. But Shadal says there's one exception. A mother bird protecting her young. She stays to protect them and doesn't fly away when a human approaches. Shadal points out that without this law, people might learn an unfortunate lesson. They might learn that the best way to catch a bird is by looking for a mother bird protecting her young and taking advantage of the compassion that the mother feels towards her young, which leads her to act against her own best interests just because she is a mother. Without this law of the Torah, Shadal says, people could conclude that compassion is a weakness. But Shadal says the Torah wants us to conclude the opposite. What makes all of us, women and men, into good human beings is learning from the compassion of mothers. The special treatment the mothers or grandmothers or mothers-in-law give to their young, and seeing this as a spiritual strength, not a weakness that others can take advantage of. We all have much to learn from Mom, from her compassion, care, love, and her special treatment for all of her descendants. And it's beautiful to see so many of her chicks, young and old, here at her grave to release her. This would definitely give her great joy. Yehi Zichra Baruch, may her memory be for a blessing. I'd like to call on Rabbi Seth Winberg to recite the El Maleh Rachamim. There we are, 14 minutes.
El Maleh Rachamim, Shochein,
במרומים. חמצי מנוחה נכונה על כנפי השכינה, במעלות קדושים וטהורים, כזוהר הרקיע מזהירים, את נשמת רייזל בת טוביה, וחנה רבקה שלחה לעולמה, בעבור שאנחנו מתפללים בעד הזכרת נשמתה. בגן עדן תהא מנוחתה, לכן בעל הרחמים יסתיריה בסתר כנפיו לעולמים, בצרור בצרור החיים את נשמתה. אדוני הוא נחלתה, ותנוח בשלום על משכבה, ונאמר אמן.
We will now invite everyone, after the coffin is lowered into its place, to participate in the mitzvah of burial. Women and men, everyone is invited to come forward and help with the filling of the grave. Right. Yeah. Pardon me? Thank you. Pardon me?
If you would like to participate today, please watch your step at all times around the open grave.
Ruthie and Sally will now recite the burial Kaddish. If you could come forward close to the grave. I think we should face east if we know which way is east. Yes, so yeah, why don't you do that? Why don't you stand over here so you can face that way, close to the grave. Okay? Go ahead. Amen. Amen. Yehehe shme Rabba mevarach la'olam olamei almaya. Brichu. Amen. Amen. Shiva today, Tuesday, and Wednesday will be at my mother-in-law's home, 522 Church Street, Unit 3G. There will be Shiva visits today from right now after the funeral until 6 p.m. this evening. Tomorrow and Wednesday, there will be Shiva visits from 10 a.m. till noon and from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. There will be no services at the Shiva house here in in Evanston. Ruthie and Sally will go to another place for services. The Shiva will then move to New York, and if anybody's going to be in New York, please be in touch with me, and I'll give you details about the Shiva in New York. If I could ask everyone to walk out to this pathway here. Okay, and you're all invited to come back to the Shiva House Mass. But if everyone could get into two lines here on either side of the path, and the mourners will walk through there, and we will greet them with the traditional words of comfort. I didn't remember that.
Yeah, but let me talk to Lowenfeld. Just go bring me what you car. They're waiting for you. My daughter, Abigail.
This does conclude the service here at the cemetery. I want to thank all of the members that are watching online.